we're going to continue with the East. There's so much in these. Again, these are only fragmented teachings because it's really, as you start to break these down, you start realizing that everything is connected. These are huge components, but we're just going to fractal this out a little bit. So, but I wanted to ask a question. What am I doing? Because this is all about that the circle, as we know, is still the temple. Okay, it's just a metaphoric or an analogy that is showing us what we're doing and how we can navigate to become. Okay, and when are we becoming? Because this is all based off of becoming, like scriptures say, as God or the Elohim. And I'm not going to go into scriptures with that. I'm just simply going to break this down from a perspective of picture. So, Elohim is the same language for pilaster, for tree, for mighty, for becoming. In the word alone, you're becoming one, but you have so much in there. You're being pointed, and you have been pointed in the way of mother and father to become established as light, right? Goaded and directed as one, completed, a completed circle. But even that language or pilaster, this is where we get why it was so important in the teachings. I can't remember the exact teaching that we did it with Carrie and I in one of our excavations in the morning, the importance of the three tabs. Because the first tab would be really the contract in the earth to journey. And even I can see it in your writings here, you have it, the illusion. So we've come into an illusion. And this is why the West, when we come into the West, right, from the North, from what was hidden, from duality, we now have to make a choice. In this West language, to find East through the way of the South, which is the right-hand path, right, is the language of even where we're blinded and we're naked here. And this is even where Paul was, even though he was very educated in his, through his tutelage of Gamaliel, that he was still in the world system. He was still obfuscated by a world directive. So he was functioning as a beast still. And when you look at the word beast, really, it's in another file that has to be broken down yet, but I don't want to get too carried away, but I just want to show you, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Because Paul, as educated he was still considered blind. That's why on the road to Damascus, he was knocked off his horse, and he was blinded, because the word for blind is right here in the West. It means you're blind and naked. The first step out of the garden. And it says that there's an inversion here, that if you walk this way, you're walking the way of intention. But this way, the wrong way, this is all still an illusion, but now you've inverted, and that word is perverted. And it means you're upside down instead of going upside right. And so Paul, as educated as he was still blinded. And that word is where you can even see it in the right. It's an ancient entity. I think it's the octopus person, and it's even in King Arthur, where you saw in the movie The Octopus Lady.
In Legend of the Sword.
Legend of the Sword, and also in Little Mermaid, Ursula. And Ursula is Ursula Minor or Ursula Major. It's the bear. It's the guardian bear that you're supposed to turn to nature. This is where we get Arcturus from. Ursula Major and Arcturus are the same word. They say the same thing. It's the guardianship of the bear that turns the nature. And if you don't turn the nature, she will devour you. You'll be blinded and naked forever, never knowing the way, because this is the looming journey of gathering the garments to become completed. So Paul on the road to Damascus was head knowledge, and he hadn't pierced his heart. He had the hidden knowledge, but he did not have the piercing knowledge of affliction and the purpose of affliction to journey through learning the lessons of humility. So he was afflicting those that were walking in the way of Yeshua at that time, and he had to get knocked off his horse to be literally blinded. And so that word for that ancient deity. See if I can find it for you here. Okay, so it's Cessalina. So the word Cessalina is a creature. It's an Asian and Native American mythology, and it's the Haida, and it means the octopus person. And Cessalina is a Latin origin, and it means to be blind. So this is ties to everything that is a monster or beast in any mythology. Anything that is still monster or beast is blind. And naked. You've perverted the intention, and you're choosing to be blind and naked by not journeying correctly. And now this is a whole different teaching. And this is why, like I say, that Paul, the scales on his eyes, and really what this equates to, because this west still, because I'm still redefining the east, this word goes to skin. The skin is, you're blinded in the illusion and you're naked. You're going to have to journey correctly to find sight to become the risen east, so you'd know Father's hidden. Okay? So, skin, Paul, he didn't realize this was a spiritual journey, and he was very much controlled by the flesh, and he was slaying left and right the Father's chosen that were finding the east. They were arising, right? And so this whole process of journey is being blind and naked, and is tethered to the beast. If you can't see, then you're beast. You need to rise, because this is all about rising. So again, what am I doing? Because if we're becoming Elohim through the covenant language, mother's covenant in the Paleo, Tav, covenant, sign, beacon, right? Progeny of a covenant to become, because this is the contract of family. This is part of the Constitution.
I was curious if that involves mother and father. Like
yes, absolutely. So this is what we're going to explain. Because what are we doing to become?
what I wrote behind you.
That's why I'm extrapolating out for you, because so you can comprehend this. I'm only giving you a 2D rendering of really a 3D explanation of really what's transacting. It's a contract of contuba, constitutionally, that joins something to something. That's what constitution means, okay. To join. And this is why we can talk that the east is directly connected to Leviathan, because Leviathan means to join tan. So you have now, this is now a risen beast. This is why Leviathan is that has arisen, because it's an east. It's become the east. So we have this foundation in the Paleo Hebrew that's a tav, and I'm going to draw the circle from another perspective. Tav, mother. She's the horizontal walk in the earth. Father is the vertical. Tav above. And we are the Tav that becomes. 3 Tavs. Heaven and earth is connected by you're becoming mother and father. This is the pilaster. What does a pilaster do? A pilaster and a tall tree, a mighty oak, which is the definition in the root of El, Yod He Vav He, knows that separation is needed from foundation to cap. It's the contents within that makes the pillar one, always supporting, undergirding the intention. This is now load bearing. You're able to stand in the earth fully aware of what you're containing and who you're to be, right? A three-dimensional, you're now the circle completed, but extrapolated out through the spiral staircase of journeying the horizontal of mother, you're the vertical of father, connecting heaven and earth. Three tops connected.
Cosmic accordion.
Spiral, whirlwind. This is the whirlwind that took up, this is all through the scripture, the whirlwind. This is the tornado. But again, so if I can't really say what we're becoming, like we need to extract, otherwise we're still caught in that minutia of narrow it into a circle, but we need to be able to extrapolate out to say, this goes dimensionally. And we mix mother and father through the process, through increments and calibrations and degrees on the compass, pulling out father from journeying with mother. So we're pulling some vertical from the horizontal. It's an axis. And this goes into mathematics because this is all still measures of locus point that we'll get into in another teaching. But so this is how we become the East, arising through the spiral staircase of mother and father. You become really completed circle. Tav, Tav, Tav. You see, and this is part of this language of East and West is all about exchanging garments. You have to build the garment, and then when it's built, you offer this garment as a sacrificial offering. I don't mean harm to the body, other than the awareness of what you're doing. You become elevated in frequency so much that you're already in the place of transmutation, and you completed it as a worship and an offering, because that was always the intention. You can now upgrade from the default.
Default being West.
Default being a place that you're given. What is a default in a game? You always go back to a default, which is the set standard from the beginning. So if I was playing a game and they're going like, I lost all my upgrades, darn it, I got killed, I got to go right back to the default, which was the West, naked and blind, right? That's the default.
Okay.
So, but as we journey, we're looking for the upgrade. Think of Saints Row, the game that we initiated, right?
Yeah.
What was the default? The setting of the guns were the next guns for the thumb gun. This is going to confuse people.
It's funny.
The
you talk
gold
about that.
standard?
It's such an explicit game.
Well, we're going to describe that. But that's what I'm meaning. There's an upgrade from the default. This is the default. You've fallen. This is your experience. You're going to have to rouse yourself awake, because that's what that means. You're going to have to then clothe yourself through your own journey, right, of incremental journeying to become, right, the upgraded version of yourself. Now we're going back into the East, because you've gone the way of the South, which is Yamin, which is the faith walk, which is the way of intention, which is the way of Yeshua. So everything that is synonymous with Yeshua, way, faith, love, shalom, every word that we can equate as journey is directly connected to the South. Because that's the right-hand path, and that equates as mother's teaching, that she will be a bear to you, an adversary, because that's also in the West too. It means a foe and an adversary, but if you see it correctly and you embrace your affliction, she actually becomes a mother bear that protects her cubs, because she realizes exactly what you're doing is to become like her. Arcturus is really, as above so below, is really a system that keeps us shackled until you're able to break free of the shackles, because you resonate to its frequency. So now you become a likened or similitude of the frequency, and you can move beyond that. And this is where we can shift into Pleiades, right? Orion. This is necklace and belt language now of adornment. So we don't need to go in there, but this is what's going on. So, east. We've already shared a lot about the process of what the east means, about orientation, about compass, because everything is about finding center. Right? Because we're going back to center. So, and center is your heart. You're centered in your heart, and as soon as you're centered, and as soon as you find your heart, then you've unlocked really the chamber of the lofty, your head. So they're both connected now. You've just connected a spiral staircase between your heart and your head.
So is east, center, heart?
East,
But they,
well, it doesn't.
Or is it all of? Is it east, south, west? Is the whole compass encompassed?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. The east alone stands as arisen, and this is what we're going to get to. We're getting to add in Kadmon. So the east would be an equation of you've come from the north, you've stepped into the west, you've had to journey the south, you've arisen as the east. It's just a metaphor to say you're completed. And so yes, the east would be, but they all are part. It's quadrants and fractals that without one you can't have the other.
Okay.
So this is a quadrated heart, the chambers of the heart.
Wow.
It's the bullseye, it's the target, it's the mark, it's the three taws, right? This is why when we saw that in one of the teachings, this is huge. You have to go the underpass to find the middle ground, to find the overpass. This is all many years of breaking this down to realize that we've pulled up many stories like, what is this? And all these different visions and dreams and overpasses, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a triple bypass.
Okay.
And when you're fully completed, they will probably most likely be 4. Because this is all about the quadrated. So the quadrated are the same as
T.
So now we have quadrated and craftsman. This is actually even the same word that talks about the east, because this is now the east gate. You become a door. Or a gate. You are the east gate, which is synonymous with, same word, and this is where we're going, the sun.
It's the same as the sun.
Same as the sun. So this is why part of our logo is 1-to-1 the stand, is because this word right here, 1-to-1, is Adam. And it's also Olive, Bet, Olive, Abba, Father. Kum. 1-to-1 kum. 1-to-1
Stand.
stand. Become a whirlwind in the earth. So this word for Adam is this one means the first. This is the first. So this means first. And this is going to, the first occurrence of this is in Genesis 3:17. Don't really need to go there. I'm just trying to condense this for you. And it's interesting that why Adam, what's this Kadmon? What's Kadmon, right? And this is really, it's Kuf, Dalet, Mem, Yod, Kadmoni. Now this is a breakdown, but this also means first. So first. Adam, Kadmon means first. Right? You're given Kadmon, but you're given the vision of first to become first, arisen again, because this is all based on the East. The same word for East is Kadmon. Same spelling. And so this is in really Kabbalah, the study of this. Adam Kadmon is a big thing, because this is the arisen man. Right? You've extrapolated out, your DNA is now unwound because you've broken free of blindness and nakedness. You've clothed yourself from the west to go on the way of the south. You're now in higher vibration, and you're ingathering fractals and frequencies by ingesting the word, because this is all becoming the word. And so you're becoming the word, so at the bar, Deborah, you can speak the word. You are now the word. Only the word can speak as the word. Yeshua. Merging, right. This is transmutation, where you become like that intention, Yeshua. You're not him, but you sure resonate to a similar frequency. He fulfilled his role to show us which way. Our job is to honor him by becoming the word manifest in the earth.
Throughout our own individual template.
Through your own unique individual template. Yes. Yes, absolutely. As he was unique, so are we unique. So this risen man, Kadmon, Adam Kadmon, is directly tied to the East. And this is why we've already broken it down. What is the East? What is orienteering? What is compass? Find your center. Find your center in yourself. So you can become Abba, Father, through Mother. I've already drawn that. So now you become one again. And it's interesting, this first word for 6933, Kadmon, is in Daniel 7:4. I will write it again. And so first, and the first occurrence in Daniel 7:4 is the first like a lion. One occurrence. And it really means the first, a lion like wings. And that's where they get in ancient Egypt. They have the lion body with the wings. Ties into that. Like this, who is this lofty one that has become the first like a lion that's then sprouted wings?
Okay.
It's a metaphor, it's a language, just saying you've arisen. You are the lion now. You're resonating Artie. It's also, I'm sorry, there's three occurrences of this. Daniel 7:4, the first of lion like wings, and then it's talking 7:8 and 7:24, and the three of the first horns, tying to the horns, and then it's talking about that the first he shall subdue, and so it's going into the previous ones, the ink, because also Kadmon, East means, so first, it's also ancient,
These are all breakdowns of the word East.
all breakdowns of the word East, before time. You're rising before time. So, Kadmon. So let's just go to the root of Kadmon. We just did that. So it's Kuf, Dalet Mem. If you want the Strongs, it's 6923.
And that's East.
This is still East. I'm only talking about the East. This is still still the same language for East. It roots out the same. And it's the same word. So sorry. Let me get the right spelling. I don't want to go too fast because you miss too much. Antiquity. So Kadmon means to come to be in front, to meet, to project oneself. Now, if I'm in a circle and something was separated and we're living in, in a mirror, right? And we're living in, we know that there's a father, and then there's a mother, and then we are to become, right? These are all tops. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so, and if we just talked about going from the west to the way of the south, and you're risen as the east, and now you're going before time as the first, as antiquity, and you projected yourself, you are going back to the place. This is conjecture. I'm only sharing with you. You can make your own decision. But we are going back to the place before time where we projected ourselves to set ourselves in and set ourselves into the illusion. That's the east.
Casting ourselves in for experience.
Casting ourselves in for the purpose of experience. You're not going to remember, because that would really negate the purpose of being sent in for the purpose of knowing whoever you are before time. You called antiquity. Adam Kadmon. You sent yourself in as a projection of yourself. Awaken, shake, west. Clothe yourself, don't be naked. Open your eyes, you must see. Not of this world, you must see spiritually. To do that correctly, you're going to walk the horizontal of lineal. But make no mistake, you're going to have to find the spiral, the spirit, the tornado. That's the spirit. You have to find this to assist lineal to spiral as one.
So this is what people don't understand they're saying when they say walk with the spirit. It's walking in the discipline and foundation of mother.
Remember the dream that you had. I'm not going to say the individual's name. Remember the dream that you had, and under her chair, spiral pasta.
Oh, yeah.
We walk the horizontal before we know the vertical. Vertical is the spirit language that takes us to connect to Father. They're both needed. You have to have a grounding foundation to walk the horizon, horizontal, and we can break down that word, and I'm going to break that down in another teaching, because you need to know what vertical is, and you need to know the axis point, right, of what is this and what is this. This is the laid down man in the wilderness. It's the tabernacle. What does it do? It stands. Adam Kadmon means arisen. The man has now gone up and he's standing as the arisen man now. All through Scripture. So this word, Kadmon, right there, antiquity, the root of what I just said, Adam Kadmon, one of its definitions as time, it means the east. Just so I can connect the dot to the dot, you need to know that. So we are going as before time, the east. Now, I don't. In my file here, I have a break. I call it an intermission. I don't know if I'm going to go into the intermission, but this is all about. Oops. Elohim. Because this breakdown in first or the third occurrence of Elohim is in Genesis 1:3. Because we already know it's in Genesis 1:1. The Elohim created. The Elohim projected themselves into a reality. They created it in the image of man, humanity. That's all man means, humanity. So they projected themselves. Who did? And it talks about in Genesis 1:3, and Elohim said, "Let there be light," because they were already behind the veil. They were the dark. They're the hidden. Dark is only cloaked light, fully illuminated, but they are cloaked. So Elohim says, "Let there be light," and this was the first day. And this is where Adam came in, different Adam, because Adam was light first. But then he came in cloaked in his suit, confused. Oh my goodness, now you're going to have to go build light, son.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go build light. And we are building light. It's what we're doing. We're shedding light on the dark so we're pulling Father into Mother, right? Revealing. That's what this is all based off of. Horizontal, vertical. Walk horizontally,
Yeah.
so you can connect. Saying the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. This is a lovely message. It's a love story. That's why Song of Solomon was, it's shalom, shalom. Peace, peace to your journey. So I don't want to go into, but it talks about who are these, and these are the Elohim. It talks about, you see it all through it, that that we should be like gods, heaven and earth, and we're connecting heaven and earth. But I don't want to go into that because it's a whole nother teaching. So we can talk about the who is Adam and the Adamites. We're talking about 121, and then we have another word, 120, and it's the same word. It means Adam, Aleph, Dalet, Mem. Because we're talking about the compass rose still, right? We're talking about the compass rose because this is what it is. 32. The compass rose has 32 winds. It's called the winds, actually, because the compass is based on the way the wind blows. And so it's interesting, in a completed circle, if there's 32 steps.
I thought you said there were wings.
Well, they're winds. It's called the 32 winds that blow. It's direction that points. Before they had the compass, they had to put it on a chart because they're going because it was all about sail. And so they had to know where the winds were coming from to get where they're getting to. But it's interesting that it still points to center, because 32 winds is still coming, it's still 32 fractals that point northeast, southwest, and then southwest, southeast, and then it's breaking down to all these southwest. It's all breaking it down into minutiae, but it's all talking about ruach, wind, puach, ruach, same blow, right? And so, but it's still pointing that there's 32 really winds that blow to center or out from, right? Because you're the center point, and your compass is based on a circle of 360 degrees, and there's 32 winds. And I just think it's interesting that the next step after 32, of course, is going to be 33, which would be completed. Thus Yeshua, right? 32 steps, and then the last step, boom.
And interesting, if I might add, 33 is a stop codon in genetic profile. It's completion, like literally.
What, 32 or 33?
33.
Oh, okay, cool.
It's a stop codon
Oh.
in the genetic in the genetic code.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know that. That's your specialty. Mine is simply going. So if you can connect it however you can connect it, that's a gift.
It equates to revelation.
Then, because it should be, because 33 would be if Mother's revelation. I'm doing the paleo here because it's a great way to describe it. Then the Father, there's the completed revelation. That's the hay. So yes, of course, you are through the journey of walking 1, 2, 5, 16, 28, 29, and then finally, boom, behold, you are. Revelation leads to revelation. It's what we're doing it over and over and over again. So yeah, so connect it however you need to connect it. But so this Adam 121 goes to Adam 120, and this is mankind. So this is woman, child. It means one blood. Families, blood. Adam, blood, one blood. We are family. We are humanity. We are, right? This is what we are. So it means one blood. So let's say one blood, right? No man, no woman, one blood. And that word means we made man in our image, and that word is really ruddy, which means red. So you're going to have to journey through the red. The blood. Right? Taking it down just so we can see, why do we see so much red and blue? It's the wrestle of becoming. We have this red, blue. Right? We're talking a metamorphic change from cocoon to flight language. Transmutation, and we're seeking the east. And so Adam is made in the image of, right? But he's in form, and he's now got congealed light in his veins. Possibly, is it blue on the other side? Don't know. Plasma? Don't know. It's a question. I'm just sharing. So we have this word, and this also means rosy. And that's really the root of the word for rose, is actually means with pink or rosy complexion. That's where rosy came from. It just means a complexion. Adam means ruddy, to be a rose. This is why the compass rose. Adam Kadmon, the risen man, is the scent of the rose. Okay? Strong's 119. So we'll just go down. Same spelling. There's some vowel pointers here, but yet it still is the same spelling. And it means to be red, to show blood in the face, to flush or turn rosy. And this is where this is going to tie in actually to, this ties back into the West, because it talks about the first occurrence of that, or not the first, first occurrence of that is Exodus 25:5, ram skins dyed red. And so they're giving a symbology or a metaphoric picture of the laid down wilderness, because they're building the wilderness tabernacle, which is called the laid down man. At least that's what I've been shown through what I've extrapolated. It's the laid down man. It's a template. Mm-hmm. It's got the golden, the Ark of the Covenant, and then you have the veil, the Holy of Holies, right. And then you have and then the laver, and then the altar. And so it's all laying your beastly nature on the fire, consuming it all up, going to the laver to see the reflection, to see if you consume. Now the reflection should show yourself, and in that time, if the priest couldn't see himself, they knew that there's sin in the camp. Something wasn't right. They had a frequency that the water would be distilled. Or not distilled as in clear. I mean, it wouldn't be still. So there'd be agitation. So then he didn't know they had to go back and sacrifice again, come back and check the reflection in the laver. And if they saw a clear face, they give him permission to enter in.
As a metaphor, the sacrifice is a metaphor as consuming your fear, the beast nature within. I see.
Because you can't see if you're blind. Remember the West? You're blind and naked. You can't go into this place to encounter the intention unless you're fully clothed. Because it's all about linen and the frequency of linen and wool.
Still waters.
Still waters. Calibrated the frequency, allowing you to enter in.
Peace.
Right. Yeah. Peace within, fully resonating in the template of intention. Back then, I'm just like, oh my goodness. There is no outward adornment other than for representation of what is within. We shouldn't be wearing anything. It's okay if it simply is a gesture to remind you, then so be it. Each their own. But it's simply, if we can see it for what it is, then myself, I just don't need the reminder, because I'm constantly reminded that the circle, my heart, my journey, how I assist another through me sharing to assist you and others. This is my adornment. This is what I choose to put on every day, so I am I'm sustained in my sustainability of what I have deemed and rendered down. It's my food, it's my portion, it's my allotment, it's my purpose, it's my prize. And then out of my heart, I share, I speak, because out of the heart of a man comes the frequency of his heart, right? So again, the compass rose. It's 32 points, 8 major winds, and 8 half winds, and 16 quarter winds. That's the journey of the 32 points. I put this in here just because, I'll just go through this really quick. I just thought because everything speaks to me. Everything speaks is how I go in to extrapolate. So but this would be more of a teaching. But 32 renders down to my Father is might. Oz. Oz means mighty. So Strong's 32 means Abi. So we have, and then it's Hey, Yod, Abi Halal. Now, you should probably get some things out of that. Halal. So 32 wins. My father is might, which ties to Oz, which we've already talked about, which means mighty. And now we have, which is from Abi Halal, is from Hayal, which is power and strength. And it's interesting that that's Het Yod Lamed. But it's interesting, but the spelling of this is a Hey. So I'm going, well, they jumped from power and strength, which I comprehended, but in 32, it's a Hey. And then we know that that means a shining one, which we would call Lucifer. That's the root of Lucifer, 1966. And then 1984, it's, oh no, sorry, that's two, yeah, no Yod. That's 1984. And that's shine, which goes to hallelujah, praise, worship, hallelujah. So anyways, interesting. That's just a side note. 32. I just when I'm in those places, I'm going like, I wonder what 32 is, and of course, it's tied to might.
So it connects to third. I wasn't sure how you're stringing that together. The 32.
Strong's
Okay.
number 32.
I see.
I just go and seek everything.
It relates to.
It relates to.
It
I'm
connects,
just. It's
okay.
just. It's conjecture, but it's what I use. It helps me define. Everything speaks to me, so I go seek everything that is potentially, from my perspective, that could speak.
Absolutely.
And so it assists me to go like, if I can find 32, then 32 should connect, because regardless if it's Brown Driver Briggs, Strong's, Greek, it should all point to all, because all is all and all is source. We're just in the experience, and I projected myself.
Yeah.
In my knowing behind the veil as the East, I would have tethered everything to everything, pointing to all. So therefore, if I'm here and I seek all,
Yeah.
all points to all.
Mm.
So I go find all to my limited capacity. I seek all from my limited perspective.
Makes sense.
So that's just me that's me doing this. Right? That's just me showing you my whirlwind. I'm more spiral. My thinking is spiral versus lineal. I'm not held. Not that it's holding or captive. It's just a construct that I'm wired this way already. I live in a tornado and I extrapolate from the tornado. It's difficult for me to share my tornado with the lineal. It's like, I don't get why you went there. Because I'm spiral past them.
Yeah, in thought, but I feel like the way that you operate is grounded.
Yes, so it should be, because it's a y-axis. Vertical. You cannot have that without that. Horizontal and vertical axes is really an arc point. And this is where we're going to get later on. It has to connect, because it's a fragmented picture of measures and degrees that are still calibrating as radius, as a measurement that is seeking to be made whole. It's just calibrations that seek. You cannot have that without that. If you live up here without that, whoa, I'm floundering. I can't really connect it to you, but I think it's true. I have conjecture now. If I can't ground it to a foundation, then we're missing connecting heaven and earth. So yes, absolutely. It has to be that way. So, little side note again. There's so many side notes because all is all, so everything's connected to all. But I find it interesting too that the top of the compass is where we get the fleur-de-lis. Fleur-de-lis means north, and the fleur-de-lis actually means the lily. It roots out at the flower and the lily. So and it also means the strait of the trumpet to be bright. So we're still talking East language, right? Because the fleur-de-lis is pointing you north, but it's saying like you need to be arisen to point north, fleur-de-lis. You need to be made east, bright, as the rising sun. as the sun gate. Fleur-de-lis will point you north, but it means that's the Zeus. It means the lily, Shin Yod Shin. Same sounding, and this morphs to Semek Vav Semek, which means horse. Now you should be able to read into that and going like, wow, if it's the white lily, you think it's the white horse?
Probably.
Well, maybe. Again, I'm just sharing. I can't go into everything from this, just from right here, but we will. We'll tie it all together. The word for lily, by the way, means white, pure, lovely, pale, colorless. So you're translucent. The white lily also ties into the word to judge in Greeks, because this is the East is directly connected to this. The judges are light that are cloaked in black. They have the resonance frequency of light within them, and they wear their judicial robes of your honor.
Even traditional suits are like that, the white underneath the black coat.
Well, yeah, well, you're right, but the judges specifically, when they walk out, they are wearing the black robes. Mm-hmm. But their purpose is they should be white as the lily underneath that. But they're showing that they are coming with hidden information. They are shedding revelation based on their light under their garments. And so east is directly connected to judge. The word is actually krinon. Krinon in Greek means lily, the way of the north. And the same word roots out at to judge. So it roots out itself. 2918 in Greek, a lily. 2919, to judge, decide, right? And then that roots out probably means to separate and distinguish, to judge. And it means to prick oneself. The definition of center means to be pierced and pricked.
Yep.
So now you're fully whole. You've arisen as the east. You're the judges. You're the, right? Now you're the lily pointing north. You're the white, the Zeus. You are pricked and pierced. You are called completed center. Everything's connected. It's amazing. So that was a lot of information. Where we're going to start next time, sunrise.
Okay.
And then we're going to go into the east gate.
Okay.
Anaknu, Anunnaki, Ani, I, Anaknu, we, we, are the people of Elohim, Anaknu, Anunnaknu. We are the sunrise, we are the east gate. We'll leave it at that, start there. Okay?
Thank you.